Hello, friends. So, since I returned from my mindful eating or intuitive eating retreat, I've had a number of people reach out to me and ask me, what is mindful eating? And it's too big to explain in just one little text or, one little exchange. So I thought I would just put it on here and try to explain it the best I can. So the first thing that I'm going to reference is this hunger scale. Let's see if I can see. It starts at 1. Trying to make it focus. Oh well, okay, I'm not a vlogger. 1 is ravenous, 2 is starving, and so on and so forth. All the way up to 10, where you're just literally too full that you're going to be sick. Anyway, okay, so hello. Okay, there. So mindful eating is basically, it's so many things. How do I start? It is eating intuitively. Most of the time, people that have an unhealthy relationship with food, like I have most of my life, we're eating mindlessly. And we're not in touch with our feelings when we start eating. We're not in touch with our hunger level. Maybe we weren't even really hungry. Maybe we're eating because we're lonely, or we're angry, or we're stressed out, or we're sad. We eat mindlessly sitting in front of the television. We eat mindlessly driving around in our car. Oh, hey, I can meet you for lunch, but I only have 15 minutes. I mean, all of that is mindless eating. And how will we ever know when we're full if we didn't even know if we were hungry to begin with? So, in a nutshell, I'll start with basically taking the time to sit down with your meal at a table, take a couple deep breaths. No, you don't have to make a big scene. Just, you can be there with people, just take a few deep breaths. You don't have to close your eyes and start saying, Anyway, so you're just breathing in. You're going to do that 2 or 3 times. And then you're going to reference your hunger scale, which for me, so 5 is you're not hungry or full. You're just, I don't think you guys can read this because it's backwards. Anyway, I'll post them. What happened to the light? There it is. I'll post them when I post this video. Anyway, so your hunger scale. So I like to start eating when I'm maybe a 4 or a 3. But start your meal with the intention of how you want to feel at the end of the meal. Do you want to be an 8 or a 9 or a 10 and you have to run home and rip your jeans off because they're cutting you in half? No. I like to feel like a 6 or 7 when I'm done. So a 6 is full and I can feel the food in my stomach. Or number 7, very full. My stomach feels stretched and I feel sleepy and sluggish. So somewhere between a 6 and a 7, since I've come to this way of eating, I try very hard. I haven't eaten past a 7 since I came back from the retreat, because I just don't want to feel that way. So if we are eating intuitively, we can eat whatever we like. So we take a few deep breaths, we gauge where our hunger's at before we start the meal. Then you start your meal and you don't wolf it down. You take your first bite, smell the smells and taste the tastes and chew it up mindfully and put your fork down in between bites and really taste the food. The food is nourishing you on a lot of different levels, not just your hunger, but it's fulfilling the senses. But most people, myself included, we just wolf our food down, and then we get another plate, and then by the time we realize it, we're just so miserable and stuffed that, we're uncomfortable. That's crazy. That doesn't make any sense, to eat to the point of discomfort, because there's always going to be more food. We don't have to eat it all right now in this one sitting. So anyway, you eat mindfully, take your bite, put your fork down in between bites, chew your food mindfully, really taste it. Then take your next bite. Don't preload your fork. So you're slowing down your eating and eating mindfully and enjoying the food that you have. You're not restricting. You're eating what you like. But you're probably going to end up eating less of it because now you are aware of your level of hunger. So halfway through that meal, you'll just kind of check in with yourself again and gauge your hunger. You might already be at a 6 and you only ate half the plate. And you're like, wow, who knew? Before I would have woofed that down and wouldn't have known if I was full or hungry. And at that point, you can decide if you want to continue eating or maybe you want to stop. Maybe that's the feeling you wanted at the end of this meal. Maybe you just wanted to feel slightly full. And then you can, either box the rest of the food up or put it away, eat it another time, give it to your dog, do whatever you want to do. So anyway, intuitive eating also teaches us that restrictive eating always results in a binge for those of us that are binge eaters. Restrictive eating is, picture yourself walking on a tightrope, okay? You're going along, okay, I'm doing really good. It's day 1, it's day 2, oh, I'm really doing good. Day 3, whoa, I'm on this tightrope. Day 4, whoa. Finally, eventually, nobody can walk on a tightrope for the rest of their lives. You're going to fall. And with restrictive eating cycle and binge eating cycles, a restrictive eating cycle is always going to result in a binge eating cycle. So the point is not to restrict, to try to, eat somewhere in between, not way over here restricting, not way over here binging. But if you were like a swinging yo-yo, we're not going to be way over here or way over here. We just want to have a nice little arc in the center. Moderation, eating what we want, but eating it mindfully. And in doing so, you won't overeat, whatever it is. So basically what I learned in a nutshell, because this was a 5-day, 8-hour-a-day event, is that I've been doing it wrong for 50 years. Restricting always results in binging. It's like a light bulb went on after all these years, and I'm like, oh my God, it makes so much sense. I mean, think of every diet you've ever done. You did really great. Maybe you adhered to the rigid rules of it. You did it for a month or 6 months or a year, whatever you did. But the majority of people have regained some of that weight or gained it back because restriction always ends in binging. So I would say, okay, I've lost 80 pounds 4 different times in my life. A couple of those times were on Weight Watchers. So would I say Weight Watchers didn't work? Yeah, I would say that. Because if it did, I wouldn't be using my food to numb myself. so that I don't have to think about pain or anger, loneliness, sadness, stress, yada, yada, yada. So if you heal your relationship with food, you won't have to go on these crazy diets that don't work. So all the diets that I've done, which have been 599 diets, yes, none of them have worked. Yes, they worked temporarily, but I'm back in the same situation I was before I started the diet. And why? Because restriction always leads to binging for those of us that are binge eaters. So anyway, always eat with the intention of feeling better when you're done than when you started. Not worse. We don't want to go to an 8 or 9 or a 10. We don't want to, no, I don't anyway. When a craving doesn't come from hunger, eating will never satisfy it. That's a good one. That's true. Taking the time to fully enjoy a meal is a little gift I give myself several times a day. So this mindful eating really is about self-care, basically. It's about listening to what's going on with you, not eating when you're not truly hungry. Maybe so here's a good one. It says, when I'm hungry, I eat what I love. When I'm bored, I do something I love. When I'm lonely, I connect with someone I love. And when I feel sad, I remember that I am loved. So this is just a reminder card that we don't eat over our emotions. We eat from true hunger. But when we're running around like chickens with our head cut off, we don't even know what true hunger is. We're not even aware. We're like, oh, okay, it's 12 o'clock, it's noon, it's time to have lunch. Well, hey, how about you take a couple deep breaths and check in with yourself and feel where your hunger level is. Maybe it's a 5. You're not hungry or full. You're just right. So that's not really the time to eat just because it's noon. So we don't eat by a clock. We don't eat by others' needs or expectations of us. I don't know. It's so much. Anyway, the program is called Am I Hungry? It's you can look it up on amihungry.com. The doctor who led the retreat, her name is Michelle May, and she also has a partner in this program. Her name is Carrie Anderson, and she's the more of the eating disorder side of it. They have books, they have retreats, they have workshops, they do things online, they have there's just a crap ton of things you can do, read to begin to learn. But basically, I guess that's it. I liked this little sign for the refrigerator. If I'm not hungry, what I need isn't in here. Yeah, that's a good one. Anyway, it's amihungry.com. The name of her book is Eat What You Love, Love What You Eat. And they also have a workbook that goes along with that as well. But I hope this kind of answers the questions, because a lot of people have been reaching out to me. What is mindful eating about? Blah, 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 blah. And it was just too much. I wouldn't be able to answer it all. You know what I mean? So anyway, I hope this helps. And if you have more questions, just message me. But anyway, it's day 9 of my mindful eating journey. And so far, things have been going good. I have not been binging, and I'm just paying attention to my hunger and my emotions, and I'm just not using food for anything other than hunger. It sounds so simple, yet, I mean, it's like, okay, I've wasted all these years restricting. I've spent $1 jillion on diets, I don't get it. Anyway, whatever. That's why it's so mind-blowing. That's why I post about it all the time, because it's so simple in its concept, but so complex because it involves a lot of emotional work, and a lot of people just don't want to feel their feelings. They just want to stuff them down. So they eat even before they're hungry because they just don't want to feel whatever the feeling is, So, and that's okay. I've been there for a lot of years, but I just chose to find a different way because I just wasn't happy. So anyway, that's all.